make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail, man. Learn to take good advice. Like, sometimes we disqualify people who are giving us good advice because of the position that they may be in life. But don't, go for the blanket term, a phrase, never listen to this person or that person. Never listen to a person who fits this mold. Because, when I was younger, I did believe that. But then you don't take into consideration the life experience of certain people. Like they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. And the sun shines on a dog's behind, at least once. So you got to learn to have discernment when you listen to somebody who's giving you advice. Like, so understand, but if you understand it's good advice, you should take it. So how can I say this? There are people who will tell you don't listen to a certain person because of X, Y, Z about them. But if you tune them out and they tell you something that's true, you're the one who lost out, not them. All right, so there are people who give you advice and they're not as successful as other people. And you're like, I'm not listening to them, they're not successful. And it's like, well, if you listen to somebody successful tell you the exact same thing, that's when you're going to pay attention to it. Because what they gave you was sound advice. And I don't know how long you think, I don't know how easy you think it is to get into a room and have a conversation with this successful person that you have, that exists. It might take you 10 years to meet that person. And what if they tell you the exact same thing that the person you didn't want to listen to told you because it was good advice? I've seen this, when people try to teach people fundamental things, and people, I'm not listening to that. And they look for somebody successful to teach them something. And that person, when they finally meet them, they teach them something, but they can't do it. And it's like, why? Why can't I do it? What they taught me? Because they found something that they were naturally good at and improved upon it. The person, they can give you advice about how would they do well. The person that you met years ago that they gave you advice on what you can do well, you didn't listen to. So now you don't do much well. Cut it out. So now you had this issue. Because it's like, oh my goodness, I should have, and this is where we get to the conversation of adults having I should have listened to such and such. I really should have listened to them back in the day. I was like, well, too late. Too late. Because a lot of y'all don't listen to good advice. And what I mean by good advice, if somebody gives you advice, that does not mean that you have to live with that advice for life. What it does mean is, you should take that advice for the time being, though. Like, try that advice and see if it works for you. And if it works for you, keep it, implement it. They're telling you to try it. And if you're not willing to try it, well, that's more of a you problem than a them problem. So now we gotta, you gotta have that how can I say this? Now you gotta have that conversation with yourself of, why didn't I listen to a certain person? I forgot who it was. I'm sure I was listening to somebody, it's an adult online talking about parenting. And they said, or it might have been just regular conversation, but they said, when kids are teenagers, they think you're stupid. They won't listen to you. They think you're stupid. Everything you say is stupid. And then when they hit about 24, all of a sudden you become a genius. You become real smart. I remember my daddy told me. I remember my mama told me. I didn't know I should have listened to him then. It's like, yeah, because you don't, sometimes our arrogance makes us think that we don't need to take advice because we're special and different. And that same arrogance leaves us, you know, busted and disgusted. And then all of a sudden you want that same advice that you didn't listen to. And sometimes, you know, sometimes you need to learn how to take advice from people that you don't like. I'm not saying take moral advice if they're not a good person morally, but what I'm saying is some of us dislike people for trivial reasons. And when they give you advice, you're just not going to listen to them because you don't like them. But what they gave you was good advice. They're not actually the one with the problem. You are. But when they gave you advice, they gave you good advice. But I don't like that person. So, okay. All right, whatever. And then, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years go by, and then you go, you know what? They were right. Or you forget where you heard it from or who you got it from. And when you forget where you heard it from or who you got it from, then you'll actually follow the advice, and then it'll actually work for you. But you wasted uh, a large amount of time being stupid and petty. My dog. So you got to learn to take good advice, man. Don't believe that you can't get information from good information from anywhere. You just got to discern if it's good information or not. Because there's some people high up that give you great information. And there's some people low that give you great information. Take the stuff that you can use and implement it and use it properly. But if you don't, that's on you. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch you on the next one. Peace.